What if you could get to a place in your life where you no longer had to chase what it is that you want and you could quite literally just attract it? That's what we're going to dive into here today, guys, when we connect soul and science together. How to change your personal frequency so you can attract and create the life that you desire. So maybe it's a certain love that you want, a certain job position, maybe it's a certain health state. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how you can stop worrying and trying to control every aspect to get there and instead just start attracting it into your life by being it now. So, how do we stop chasing and start attracting? Well, the way that we're going to do this is first we got to understand how it actually works. How, Caden, is it possible that you're telling me that I don't need to go chase after my goals, that instead I could literally attract them to me? Well, this first we need to dive into understanding how everything works at a foundational level. So if you look at quantum physics and what it shows is that everything is energy. You strip everything away in this world and it comes down to one thing, which is energy. We are all energy. And then if you look at that energy, everything vibrates. Everything vibrates to a certain tune. You look at a rock and it vibrates at a low, low rate. If you look at humans or whatever it may be, we vibrate at a higher rate. So every single thing in this universe, everything in creation vibrates to a certain level. And in that vibration, everything also has a certain set frequency. So everything is energy, every single thing vibrates, and every single thing has a certain set frequency. So you want to think of it like this. You are an energetic being. You have a certain set vibration that is then attracting the life that you have. When you vibrate at this certain level, so let's say this is you, and you're vibrating at a certain level, that is pushing out the reality that you live in. So you are set to this certain frequency, we'll say, and that frequency is going out, and you are attracting other things that are just like you. So it's almost like if you're watching a certain TV channel, right? I'm on channel 99, we'll say, and I'm watching it. Well, channel 100, channel 101, these are all playing as well, but I cannot see these because I'm only focused on this channel here. This is the state I'm in, and this is what I'm focused in as well. What's really cool about this as well is that science even shows that your brain will filter out things that do not serve its purpose and filter in things that do align with its purpose, which means its core belief systems, its core fears, traumas, programming, etc. Because all the brain cares about is that you're alive, you're safe and secure. It looks for predictable things and things that are similar to its core beliefs to keep kind of reproducing that story over and over again. So how this works as a person is think of it like this, an ascending spiral. Okay, you expand here, so you're expanding, and then you constrict. But you're always, always elevating, always, always expanding. So, where I'm going with this is as a person, you have a certain set frequency as well. So, let's say the top frequencies are like love, joy, abundance. This is what we call ascending. And the lower ones are like grief, sadness, fear, etc. Most of us live our lives jumping back and forth from guilt, shame, low worth, sadness, grief. We're usually jumping up and down on the lower scale of things, a lot of us. And what do we end up getting over and over in our lives again? Usually a lot more pain, sadness, grief, etc. Right? But do you ever just meet those people in your life who are just like always shining and glowing? Like things are always working out for them. They always seem to get lucky. They have always got a positive mindset. The reason why is because they're vibrating at this top level here. Okay. So they might even be experiencing in the outer world similar things as you, but they're personally experiencing it much differently because they have a different perspective or a different belief system in place that allows them to look at things in a much better state, that allows them to that allows them to vibrate at a much better state. So they are attracting much better outcomes. So the reason why I created this graph right here is to show you how you can ascend and level up your frequency. So if you want to attract more love into your life, but you're staying on a state of fear, maybe I'm scared to get cheated on, so I don't want to go attract that love in my life, even though I want that love in my life, for example, right? Well, what's going to happen is that we're going to keep attracting the most dominant state, the thing that we're focused on most. So if you're focused mostly on, I don't want to get cheated, I don't want to find the wrong person, there's nobody out there who's the right fit for me, that's what you're going to keep getting over and over and over and over again. So if we want to attract the love, the secret to this, the key to this is you got to become it now. It's not, I will feel that love when the partner comes into my life. It is, I will feel that love now, and then the partner will come into my life then. You attract what it is that you are, right? So if you want that love, if you want that abundance, if you want that safety and security, that health, you want to become it now. And think of it like this, the person that you want to become, what's the only difference? Is that they act differently so they get different results, which means they think and feel differently about themselves, which means they believe differently about themselves. And that ties into your core frequency signature, we could call this. So let's say you're wanting to ascend and you're wanting to transform your frequency to get to the top, right? Well, let's take a look at how this works. So let's say you're trying to ascend, and here's the start, right? As a baby, it's funny because as a baby, like you're basically in this state. What I mean by that is like as a baby, you're just fully being, you're fully neutral. There's no real program stuck in your mind right now. So you're just fully in the moment, in the present moment, being the baby, right? But then throughout life, what happens is that we adopt these beliefs, right? Or we adopt these fears and what I should call is these limitations and these programs on how we should be. And as a baby, you'll copy these because you need to survive. So you need to fit into the tribe. So we'll pick these systems up that are not actually real, but then we start, but then they start becoming a part of us and who we are and how we are. And this usually ties into core beliefs of like, I'm not loved, I'm not worthy or good enough, or I'm broken, or whatever it may be. And it kind of feeds this victim mentality, right? I never went for that because I was never good enough. I never did this, whatever it may be, right? And we start to believe these things about ourselves. And what these then become is these become anchors that hold us back into a low, low frequency. Because if you want to ascend, if you want to get to a state of constant love, joy, abundance in your life, we cannot be holding on to fear and scarcity. So these things we need to unpluck, right? We need to let go of them so we can make space and room for what's new so that new can come in and we can keep rising above. So these limitations might be fear of failure. It might be a sense of lack, of not good enough. And as we're trying to transform ourselves, what we'll focus on is we'll do the inner work, right? We'll make these kind of affirmations and go through the process. So we're trying to ascend, we're making it happen. And then what happens is that life gives us the opportunity to let go of what it is that's not meant for us so that we can let go and keep ascending to the next level. But what happens to most of us is when these situations occur is we get into a fear state and we go back into our animal brain, our logical brain, and we'll retreat instead of learning the lesson, finding the pattern, and empowering yourself to let it go, to release it, to face your fears so you can keep rising above. Instead, we retreat back into the fear-based system and we allow that to keep reproducing over and over again. And then we just kind of get stuck, right? We get stuck in this little cycle. And that's why it seems like, oh, I just keep gaining and losing the same weight over and over again. I keep finding these bad partners over and over again in my life. I keep making money and I keep losing a bunch of money over and over and over again. It's always because we're tied to some sort of limiting belief or program or fear that is just not in alignment with who we want to become. So we get to work through it. We get to let it go in order to rise above. But again, fear-based thinking is always wanting to control the next step. It can't trust the next step. It wants to control. It wants to figure out how everything works. But the animal brain isn't designed for that. We need to let that go. We need to trust in the unknown so we can let go of what's not meant to be ours and we can bring in what is meant to be ours. So we want to unplug these plugs because think of it like this again. So if I'm going over here, think of it like this. This is where I want to go. This is the goal, me, and I want to be vibrating on a state of love. I want to attract love into my life, love, abundance. That's what I want. And me now, what I'm attracting is fear, fear and not good enough. Okay. So that's what I'm attracting to my life. So if I believe I'm not good enough, am I going to go out and try to find the best partner in the world? No, because I believe that I don't deserve them. Right. So I'm going to keep attracting the things that are going to keep me stuck in this state over and over again because the person that I want to be, they think in ways that I am deserving. Right. I am good enough. So when you ask for this, when you ask for the love, when you ask for that stuff, you automatically will get it. The world, so think of this as like how life is working out for you. This is going to have, this is going to start reorganizing. Because what you're doing is you're changing your state, right? You're changing your frequency, you're changing at the level that you vibrate. So that way, your external world is going to start to shift and align with that as well, because it starts with the internal, right? You change the internal state, the external will then reflect that. So the world will start to reorganize. But in order for you to truly get to this place where it's stabilized, where that love is your new frequency, we must understand that we need to be in these states of being of I am deserving. So along this journey, what's going to pop up here is you're going to have this block of resistance. And resistance is those anchors that's holding you back and stuck in that old place of being. It's tied to some sort of program that wants to keep reproducing over and over again because that's the animal brain in control, right? Safety and security. Let's just focus on survival. But we know that I want love. I want love though. And with love for us in this situation comes with I am good enough energy, right? I am deserving. So if we're in a state of being of I'm not good enough, we can't get that love and keep it lasting because that's what we're attracting to our life is I'm not good enough, not I am deserving. And maybe we tie into that I need to be good enough in order to have the love of my life, right? Whatever it may be. So we get to, I should say, unplug this resistance. So this resistance will pop up in ways of, let's say, you got self-sabotage, you'll procrastinate, you'll wait, you will, whatever it may be. You'll have all these kind of symptoms and signs that will pop up. And what we get to do, so how we remove resistance is the following is number one is you need to observe, right? You got to get clear on the resistance. Number two is you rewire, okay? You rewire and you release. Oops. So let's say the resistance is I'm not good enough. Okay. Well, that's a limiting belief. That's a limiting belief. How do we know that's a limiting belief? Because it's not universally true, right? It's true to you, but it's not universally true, which means somewhere's down the line when you were born to who you are now, that limiting belief was programmed into you. But is it true, like when you were first born as a baby, did everybody look around the room and say, this little child right here is never going to be good enough? No, right? So it's not universally true. So what that means is that we want to find the pattern, okay? And here's how you do it. So the results that I'm getting, so I believe that I'm not good enough. And I think low of myself, right? So I suck, I'm not handsome, I'm ugly, whatever it may be. We're having these negative thoughts. And then we feel sad, depressed, low self-esteem. And how do we act? We cover up. So instead of showing our beautiful looks or whatever it may be, we cover up, we hide. And the results stay lonely, right? I want love in my life, but I believe I'm not good enough. And this is how it's reproducing in my life, right? And then we stay lonely. But again, what a lot of us do is we think in our animal brain. So we'll blame this on the external world. But I promise you, change the internal and everything else externally will change. So now that we find this, right, we'd find the limiting belief. So let's say you don't know the limiting belief is there of I'm not good enough, right? Well, how you would find it is you got to do some self-observation, some self-reflection, right? What would I have to believe to be true about myself to think this way that I suck or that I'm ugly, that I'm not good enough? Okay, boom. So then we can find the core limiting belief, right? So it's just about putting ourselves in a different perspective, a different lens, so we can see things differently, and that way we can solve this resistance or whatever's in the way. That's what I help my clients do. So once we're able to release this resistance, right? Because we know now that it's not universally true that I'm not good enough. So what must be true? That I am good enough. I am who I am, and that is good enough, right? Okay. Well, how do you think we're going to end up thinking over time when we have this new belief of I am good enough? Oh, I can do this, right? We're more confident thoughts. And then we're going to feel a lot more happier, right? And then we're going to act different. And then we're going to start to get different results in our lives. So maybe instead of feeling sad and depressed, we'll start feeling confident, happy, excited. We'll start acting in ways where we start to go out more. We'll dress more confidently. We'll dress better, differently. And the next thing you know, we're starting to attract these different people in our lives. And then, boom, that love of your life will come in someday, right? So the third step is you got to integrate it, right? You got to get it stable. So that new frequency is stabilized. So that's why you do the work when it comes to, the affirmations, the thoughts and the feelings to change your identity, the nervous system work to get your body attuned to that safety feeling of I am good enough. So we don't go back to the old programming of I'm not good enough and function off that way. And what happens is as you do that, right? So what happened is that you ask here, right? You ask here, and then what happens is you're sending, and then you get the resistance that happens. And the resistance puts you down, right? But then you rewire. So you rewire here. So you learn the lesson or you uncover the limiting belief, and then you rise again. Okay? So love, and let's say down here is maybe we're stuck in shame. Shame about ourselves because we're not good enough, whatever it may be. And that's how you change your personal frequency. So if you want to vibrate at a higher level, if you want to ascend on the scale to attract a better life, to create, to manifest a better life, to have better health, whatever it may be, it starts by changing your internal frequency. And how you change your internal frequency is number one. So again, so you ask for what you do want. And then two, you observe what's not aligned with who you want to become. Number three is you rewire and release whatever isn't in alignment with who you want to become. Number four is you integrate. So you become fully who it is that you want to be. And then you trust, you let go. You allow yourself to naturally take those actions off that new belief system, off that new identity. And naturally, what you will find is that you will attract what you are. You will keep attracting it over and over and over again, right? It's like I go buy the red car and I see the red car everywhere. So if you believe that you're not good enough, you will keep seeing signs of that everywhere. But if you believe that you are good enough and deserving, you will also end up seeing those signs and reflections of that everywhere because the external world is a reflection of your internal self, your internal state. Remember, you're an energetic being and you vibrate and you have a certain set frequency. You change these, every single thing else will change. So this way you can stop playing in the animal brain of chase, 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 grit, 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 and just start becoming and attracting what it is that you genuinely want in your life. Okay, so just a quick little rundown of what we did as we end this training for today, right? Is we stopped playing the old game of chasing, right? So chasing is where you're coming from a place of, I'm not good enough. I'm going to get on these profiles. I'm going to message these people. I'm going to go out in these dates with these people who I know is not good for me. And I'm going to keep getting the results over and over again to reflect back that I'm just not good enough. I can't find the right person, whoever it may be. Instead, I'm going to start attracting. I'm going to do the inner work. I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to change my beliefs. I'm going to unplug all the limiting beliefs about myself, the fears about myself, so that way I can ascend, I can raise my vibration, right? And as I raise my vibration, I'm going to emit a new frequency. And therefore, I'm then going to attract a different life. And how I do that, how I change my frequency, is I change those core beliefs about myself. And I release the fears, I let go of the limiting beliefs, and I ascend higher and higher. Because any kind of resistance in your life, and what I mean by resistance is any kind of suffering, anything that you may not necessarily prefer in your life, not counting, let's say, physical pain or whatever it may be, but anything that you do not prefer in your life, that you do not like, that you might be suffering with, or that you're scared of, or whatever it may be, is always tied to a limiting belief or a fear. And once you can release those and step into your actual truth and remember your power, you will just keep rising and rising and rising, feeling better and creating and attracting a much, much better life. And that is the training, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this training today. If you did, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. And if you have any more questions or anything like that, I'm always available on social media at coach or at Caden.Hayward on my Instagram. And I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing rest of your day. And I'll see you on the next training.